하나, 둘, 셋, 화이팅!
화이팅! 아 맞다. 고라니 소송 화이팅!
여러분 화이팅! 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 화이팅!
화이팅!
화이팅!
화이팅!
힘내.
David.
화이팅!
화이팅! David, you can unmute yourself. 화이팅!
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 화이팅, 화이팅, 화이팅! Hi everyone, welcome. This is David. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is David E. I'm the co-founder at Good Light Cosmetics in the daytime, and at night, Grace and the team have been working me hard for the events. And we have many events this season, this election season, but we could not do this without you, Korean Americans. Thank you so much for joining for our campaign launch today for Harris and Walz. Thank you. Grace, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Hi everyone. I'm Grace, good friends of David Yee. Just honored to be here with almost 200 Korean Americans from across the country. So thank you so much for showing up for Harris
Amazing.
and Walz. Yes.
Well, we're launching in a very interesting season, a very interesting and historic campaign season. I want everyone to please consider making a contribution tonight that will be recorded by the campaign as supporting coming from the Korean American community. And I mean, talk about really interesting season. It is brat season. It is coconut season. It's couch season as well.
And it's uncle and auntie season. So get excited to support our auntie and uncle on the ticket in November. But without further ado, we are just excited to introduce one of our national co-chairs, Steve Kang, who is our resident Korean expert, to introduce in Korean.
Thank you, Grace and David. 안녕하세요. Korean Americans for Harris 공동의장 스티브 강입니다. 공식 론칭 행사에 참여해 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다. 저희 그룹은 카말라 해리스 대선 캠페인의 공식 한인 지지단체입니다. 미 전역의 4명의 공동의장 체제로 해리스 월즈 공식 캠페인과 협력해 미 전역에 있는 한인 유권자들에게 카말라 해리스 대통령 후보와 팀 월즈 부통령 후보의 지지를 적극 홍보하려고 합니다. 특히 경합 지역에 있는 한인 커뮤니티와 소통 창구를 열어 공식 캠페인과 브릿지 역할을 할 것을 약속드리겠습니다. 오늘 행사에는 미 전역에서 활동하고 있는 한인 정치인뿐만 아니라 다양한 분야인 한인 리더들의 연설이 준비되어 있습니다. 앞으로 많은 참여와 관심 부탁드리겠습니다. 그리고 다가오는 11월 5일 선거에서 카말라 해리스 대통령 후보와 팀 월즈 부통령 후보에게 소중한 한 표 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Yes, and 감사합니다, Steve Kang. Wow, that was really 멋있어. My Korean is not as good as yours, but we're so grateful for your Korean representation, making our 엄마s and 아빠s and 할머니s and 할아버지s really, really proud. Without further ado, really excited to introduce you all to the national Korean American community and our allies. I know we have our allies tuning in as well. We have a Congress member from Washington's 10th Congressional District. She is born in Seoul. She's the first African American to represent Washington State at the federal level and one of the first Korean American women elected to Congress in our history. And if you remember, she got sworn in with her hanbok on. She's a very, very proud Korean in the midst of COVID. So we welcome Congressmember Marilyn Strickland.
Well, thank you everyone for allowing me to be here with you today. My name is Marilyn Strickland. I'm with you from Tacoma, Washington. We're in the district during the month of August, and I'm very proud to be part of the launch of Koreans for Harris, or as I like to say, Koreans for Kamala. And as I look at the screen and think about this beautiful diaspora that we represent, I always want to be mindful too that there is a strong Blasian contingent in Washington State and across the country, and we are very proud of our Korean heritage. I was once asked by someone, what do you consider yourself, more Black or more Korean? And I said, if you were raised by a Korean woman, you know your Korean roots for sure. But I think what's really important right now is for us to remember that there are only 13 Tuesdays before the general election in November. This is going to be a very rapid campaign, and we have so much work to do. But we know that the Korean American population represents one of the largest and fastest group of voters who are being registered in the country. We know that in Georgia, when Raphael Warnock got elected to the US Senate, it was because the Korean American community showed up. And now that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are the ticket that we have, there was so much excitement and enthusiasm. And there are states that are in play now that weren't before. Georgia is now on the map. There are even talks about Texas being on the map. And here's why this is possible. 80 million people did not vote in the 2020 presidential election who were eligible. If we show up, we win. And it's important for us to make sure that our community shows up. The Korean American community knows how to mobilize. We know how to spread the word of mouth very, very quickly. And when we show up, we can have a fantastic and meaningful impact on these elections. So I'm very enthusiastic about being here with you today. As always, I tell folks that when we show up, this is when we make a difference. And winning a presidential election often comes down to a handful of states. It's a very, very small game of margins. And our community can be that difference between winning an election or wondering what happened. So I think about Texas, I think about Georgia, I think about the large Korean American population in Philadelphia, and Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, those are all states that are in play right now. So let's make sure that our community shows up. There's a lot of energy and enthusiasm right now. If you're on social media, if you're watching TV, record crowds showing up, record numbers of volunteers, record numbers of first-time voters and donors showing up. And that's incredibly important, but we cannot get lazy or complacent because we think there's so much momentum. Vice President Harris is a Black and Asian woman. This is still a steep hill for a lot of people in this country to imagine her as president. But let's make sure that she has the entire Korean American community pushing her up that hill, making donations, volunteering, reaching out to our extended families, reaching out to first, second, and third generation to make sure that when she wins her election, we know that the Korean American community was a big part of making that happen. Thank you so much for letting me be here today. I'm excited to hear from the other speakers, but let's get out there, let's make our voices known, and let's make sure that people understand that Koreans are for Kamala. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I just got chills.
Thank you so much. Same. In Korean, it's called taksal.
I felt taksal too. I was gonna say that, but like in a good way. Oh my goodness, Marilyn, you just gave us taksal. All of us, all 200 plus of us on the Zoom, taksal. We're really excited to mobilize, as Congressmember Marilyn Strickland mentioned. Please donate using the link in the chat. Our friends Esther, Im, and Steve are sharing it in Korean and in English. You can also sign up to volunteer with us. We have less than 100, and we love to bring you onto the team. Next, we have someone you may know. You definitely know her state of Hawaii, Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke. She is the 16th Lieutenant Governor of Hawaii, third woman to hold the office, and the highest ranking Korean American official in the US. And the only one really holding a statewide office. She has been instrumental in fires, and we thank her for her leadership in Hawaii. Over to you, Lieutenant.
Aloha mai kākou. I think my internet connection is a little bit spotty, so I hope everyone can hear me. And if you can give me a big thumbs up, if you can, Grace. This election is so exciting for me because the issue is really not about whether we're excited for Kamala. It is about the soul of this country. As many of you in this room, I'm a immigrant from South Korea. I was fortunate that I came to this country, and this country has given me and my family so much. We came when I was just 9 years old, and I had elementary school teachers who took time off their own schedule to teach me English. And instead of sending me to an ESL class, this teacher just took me on the side and taught me English on a daily basis and dedicated so much of her life to a latchkey kid like me. And a lot of the immigrant stories are not really are very similar to my own. Your parents are working, and so the kids are at home and then, fending for themselves. But we depended on each other, and we depended on the community. And many times it's our church community, our faith community that came together. And it was a Korean community who stood with us. And this is the America that I love. And this is the America that many of us fought for. And that's why we are in public service, we are in philanthropic, we are engaging, and we are getting excited. Somewhere along the line, the America that we love has been lost. And it's because of some of the damage that has been done by the Donald Trump and his administration. And this is really, in this election, it is not just about this race. We are regaining the soul of this country, and we are regaining what we thought we were fighting for. And I want to believe that America is there for every single immigrant, as every single person and every single individual, regardless of race, regardless of sex, regardless of ethnic origin. And the hatreds that we have seen over the years have gotten worse. And this is our opportunity as this generation to take back the country that we love, take back what it should be, and set right the wrong ways that it have been done. In this event, thank you so much for organizing. I feel so honored to be part of this event, because when I took a look at all the panelists, people who are participating, there are a lot of firsts. We have first in Congresswoman Strickland. We have first in Andy Kim, who can potentially be the first US Senator. That's very exciting. We have the first in Sam Park. We have first in Patty Kim. We have so many firsts. And for me, I am the first Korean American to hold a statewide office, but I should not be the last. And I call on each and every one of you to engage, to put Koreans on the map and run for office, be engaged, and make Kamala the first Asian American to hold the US office. And the statement that we'll make is not just exciting, but it is the right thing to do. Every one of us has given so much to this country, and it is our responsibility to make sure that we have that first in this election. So mahalo nui loa, mahalo to everyone for allowing me this space. I just love this energy, and I just love the fact that you guys have put this together, and the enthusiasm and the love from many of the younger generation. I feel that, it's bringing this new type of energy, and we deserve to be here. We deserve to have our voices heard, and we deserve to make people know that we have arrived. We have been in this country, Korean Americans have been in this country 125 years, and this will be our mark where we bring Kamala Harris and the running mate Walz to be the next president of the United States. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo!
Mahalo. Thank you
Mahalo.
so much. That was so inspiring, Lieutenant Governor Sylvia,
Thank you.
Luke. I wanted to really tell everyone that we have the fundraising link. We need to talk about our fundraising link that we will put in the chat below. And also, I'd be remiss if we didn't tell everyone to follow KA's for Harris on social media, at KAS for Harris. Find us there, find all the information. Talk about first, we're going to talk about Suchin Pak, who is the first of so many, the first on MTV as the first Korean American, a veteran journalist with more than 25 years of experience. She's best known for being the Asian American older sister that we saw every week, every day on MTV News. She currently co-hosts a podcast, Add to Cart, about consumerism. And she also focuses much of her work on issues involving social change, and an icon to the AAPI community. I do owe Suchin Pak so much because she's the reason why I became a journalist. I saw that she could do it and that I could do it too. So Suchin, thank you so much for being here, and the mic is yours.
Thank you, David. I love this.
So I think I'm just going to speak honestly and from the heart, because up until about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I was still boycotting the news. Now, I don't know if you guys do this. I was in my room crossing my fingers, angel numbers, because I just was afraid about what the outcome of November was going to be like. Now, I was in Times Square reporting on the election in 2016. We don't need to talk about that. So I have a little bit of this angst when it comes to elections. So when Kamala's name was thrown into the ring, I did pop my head out for a second, but I was like, what does this even really mean, right? What's going to happen from this? Even though I've loved supporting Kamala since her first days in the office, I think so many of us can remember that feeling of watching her condemn the violence in our community when so many of our elected officials couldn't even do that, right? So all of a sudden then, it felt like overnight, she raises millions of dollars that first week. I think it's $200 million, 170,000 volunteers sign up in week one. Of course, she crashed that Zoom call. And to me, I think this is what it means, right? Beyond the rhetoric and beyond the promises, these are the hard numbers that speak the truth to me. And Kamala running for president, it doesn't mean much until we make it mean something. And we all know this from experience, right? And so these numbers are undeniable, that for us here today, when we talk about joy and we talk about hope, that we are talking about facts. And there have been a lot of dark moments this past year. I think I spent so much of it vacillating between sadness and anger, and then back to my boycott and out of my boycott. So I'm asking all of you out there who've been there with me to channel a very powerful Korean superpower we've got at our fingertips. David, you know what I'm talking about because we talk about it in our texts. I'm talking about rage, Korean rage, right? This thing that can fuel action, that we want to make sure that our communities, that our BIPOC communities, that the marginalized communities, and anyone that has been pushed aside or undermined over the years have a seat at the big table. And that's what this election means to me. So I'm with you guys here. We've got less than 100 days, I learned, right? Yesterday, what do we do now? I'm ready today to listen. So thank you guys for calling in tonight. And David, I know you've got some very big guests coming up as well.
We really do, Suchin. Thank you so much for always being so candid, so open, and always just being so inspirational. I do want to say rage is a real thing. We all have that within us. Also, revenge is a real thing. Revenge
it's a
is very
thing.
Korean.
We can use it for good, though. This is what I'm
Yes.
saying. Let's channel this, right? This
Yes.
pun towards getting us to victory.
Yes, not
Absolutely.
like Song Hye-kyo from Glory, but in a positive
In a
way,
positive way.
raging towards November election day. Thank you for the courage encouragement, Shin. I also just want to give a shout out to Lake County Treasurer Holly Kim, New York City Council Member Linda Lee, who's joining us as well. And thank you to Assembly Member Grace Lee from New York. I'll keep thanking people as we go along. But we will now introduce someone you may know, especially if you're in Southern California, because a lot of Koreans live there. Dave Min is a state senator who represents Orange County. He's a former professor at University of Irvine. He is the only Korean American in the California state legislature. He's currently running for Congress to represent Orange County and join Congressmember Marilyn Strickland in the House of Representatives. So he is in a swing district, which means it is purple, mixing red and blue people together. I'm going to turn it over to State Senator Dave Min.
Thank you, Grace. Appreciate it. And thanks to the host for putting this together. It's really an honor to be up here with so many of my sheroes and heroes. And so I will just say, as Grace mentioned, I'm running in maybe one of the top 3 contested races in the House this year. And I'm just going to tell you that the excitement around Kamala Harris is so real. In the week following the change from Biden, when he announced he stepped down, that week following that, we raised over $200,000 from over 7,000 unique donors. The fundraising, the volunteers, the momentum is all just incredible. And so for the first time in many months, we're like really feeling like, hey, this might be a blue wave at the end of the day. Now, in the state Senate, as Grace mentioned, I have the pleasure and privilege and honor of being the only Korean American in California right now. And so I got to celebrate the second Kimchi Day this just a couple of days ago, actually. And I will just say that as a Korean American growing up in this country, like I'm so excited to see the rise of Korean and Korean American culture. Our home country, our country of origin is cool. My kids always tell me how cool it is to be Korean. We see some celebrities on this screen with us, politicians, and just to see the rise of kimchi and Korean culture in my lifetime, it just makes me get really emotional. And to me, that's what America is about at its best. And it's what Kamala Harris, as a Black and Asian woman, is about, because she's lived the same story that many of us have lived in this country: assimilation, adaptation, finding our way in a new country, and growing up as Asian and as an American, which can sometimes be a challenge. And Kamala Harris represents our values at a time when so many of these values are being demonized: diversity, inclusion, pluralism, democracy, opportunity. These should not be bad things, and yet the other side right now is trying to get rid of them. And so we have two competing views of America at stake in this election. We know what Kamala Harris represents. It's excitement and hope and opportunity. We also know that for the other side, people like us really don't have a place in America. They have made that crystal clear. Theirs is an agenda of xenophobia, of hate, of exclusion, of going after marginalized people, of going after women and trying to take away our basic rights. Now, we are living history, and sometimes it's easy to forget that. I'm in a busy congressional race. I'm a state legislator, and sometimes I think to myself, shit, we're like in a moment where there's like some crazy stuff happening, and we should remember that. But we also have a chance to not just live history, but to make history here in November. We can reject Donald Trump and his xenophobic agenda, his anti-American agenda, but we also can elect the first woman and first Asian American. We can break so many barriers, and we can re-engender this country with hope and optimism again. Now, I remember waking up after the 2016 election, feeling like, what has just happened to this country? And we know that it will be a million times worse if Donald Trump's elected again. So the choice is clear. We can wake up on November 6th feeling frightened and dejected about this country, or we can wake up feeling excited and elated and optimistic about our future. So let's not give up. Let's go hard for the next 88 days. We have a real chance to turn this thing around. Fighting!
Fighting, 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 fighting. Let's be supernatural like New Jeans and make sure we have more kimchi days across the country to celebrate in all of our states. And maybe it could be a federal legislation, Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, and hopefully David will join to be your colleague. I'm really, really excited that we have so many more city council members who have joined us. We have Julie Wan, school board member, Jean Kim. We're just grateful for so many people who are here. We're thankful for Cindy Rue from Washington State. Sorry, the names are falling out of my head. Il Moon, a school board member, Mark Chang, state representative. And now I'm really excited to introduce Congressmember Andy Kim, who is really, 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 what was it? Cajun? He's Cajun in a positive way. And he is going to become our first Korean American senator in American history. He represents New Jersey's 3rd district. He has worked in the White House, the Pentagon, the State Department. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's a genius. But you know what's great about him? He is humble. He is a humble man who will become our first Korean American senator. Over to Andy Kim, hailing over from New York, actually, stepping away from his event. So thank you, Andy.
Yeah,
Woo!
thank you. Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yes. I always get a little concerned when I'm using other people's setup, but
Andy, I do need to ask you an important question. Where are you? You look like a cool Marvel villain of my dreams.
oh, really? Interesting. Well, that was the kind of motif I was going for, was, how to be able to do it in that kind of way. But yeah, no, look, I'm here from my lair, my super lair. But no, look, I'm just grateful to be able to join. I'm glad I was able to make a little time, and good to see everybody. And I was glad, to follow up on Dave and Marilyn and everyone stepping up to see people from all over the country engaging. Look, I just wanted to share one thing. I've been trying to share this around just because I think it hopefully gives you a sense of why I'm so excited for Vice President Kamala Harris and this ticket. We've all been so impressed by the energy and the electricity that's being injected into our campaign and our elections around this country. But for me, when I think about why I'm excited for Kamala, I think through something that just happened about 2 months ago. So I was really had my primary election at the beginning of June. It was something that we've been working towards for quite some time, and just a few moments after I won that primary, I got a call from the vice president. And I was really honored that she called to congratulate me on this win. And she was asking me, like, how do you feel about this? You must be excited. I said, yeah, look, I'm really excited, but I have to be honest, Madam Vice President, it's been a really tough time for my family. My father had a major health crisis just before the primary election. I spent a lot of the days leading up to the primary in the hospital as my dad went through some very aggressive surgery. And I told her that our life's been kind of turned upside down, and we're really struggling in this moment. And the vice president, who I know was probably just on for a quick, congratulations phone call, stayed on with me for about half an hour, if not longer, just asking me how my father's doing, telling me that it's okay for me to carve out space and time to just be a son. She reminded me I have only one father, and that, I need to make sure I don't regret this moment for the rest of my life if I don't feel like I'm there for him. And for so many of you who, heard me before, met me before, that I'm doing this for my family. I do this for my kids. I do this for my family. And it's so important that we don't lose ourselves. So easy in campaigns to just get caught up in the moment and think that everything in your life can be pushed off, and that, you just need to focus on the campaign and you'll just deal with everything else at a later moment. But sometimes you can't, and sometimes you shouldn't, because you don't want to lose sight of why it is that you're doing this, that we're doing this to try to make sure that we're providing not only for our loved ones, but to be able to have every family be able to have the care. That no family should have to struggle with elder care and see how often, seniors in this country go bankrupt, because of medical debt and other things that are out there. It's not just my family that's struggling with this at this moment. So I just wanted to share that experience with you, because we have in our vice president, soon to be president, someone with that deep sense of empathy, with that deep sense of care, that in all the things that's going on in the world with so much challenge, the fact that she had time for my family's struggle and our pain at an individual level when she's got so much else on her mind, it really just gave me a tremendous confidence that even with what she's achieved in her life, she is not going to be someone who loses sight of why it is that we serve, why it is that we're trying to make a difference, that this isn't about chasing ego and ambition. This is about trying to make a difference and an impact. And she promised me that she would work with me, hopefully from the U.S. Senate, on efforts to be able to make sure that we're supporting our seniors, supporting our grandmas, our grandpas, our moms and dads, and be able to provide all of them with the kind of care that they need. So that's something I just want to share with you. I hope it gets you excited about what we have before us and why it is so important, because contrast that to Trump, contrast that to what we see right now in our politics. We want someone with that moral compass. We want someone with that heart. And we want somebody that is going to lead, always remembering that it's not about them. It's not about their job, their legacy. It's about our health, our lives, our ability to be able to live a life of dignity and decency. So thanks so much, everybody, for letting me jump on. I'm really excited for the next, what was it, Dave, man? It was like 88 days, 87, not that we're counting. So let's go on out there. We're excited here in New Jersey. In New Jersey, we're going to be able to vote for an Asian American for president of the United States. And right below that, they'll hopefully elect me as the first Korean American ever in the Senate, the first Asian American in the Senate from the East Coast of America. So let's go out there and make history. Thanks, everybody.
David, what do you think?
Thank you so much.
What did you think of that, David Yee?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you.
I will have to say, I wanted to always meet State Representative Andy Kim. Talk about being Congress member
It's
Andy
okay.
Kim. Talk about being a leader and serving. I will always remember the photograph of Andy on the ground in the Capitol picking up the pieces after the riots. And that to me is what a true leader is someone who picks up the pieces, is the first to get down and dirty. And that I really think is very Korean American too, right?
Yeah,
Being
I
a
have
leader.
I have a very Korean American mom. That's really what that was all about too.
And that will always be something that I remember. And I knew from then that you were our people and you were deserved to be, in office, and best of luck to you. We will support you as well. Grace, who do we have next in our program?
Well, we have some amazing battleground elected officials who happen to be Korean American. But before we go to that, I do want to just thank the folks that have joined us. We have former city council member David Rue from LA, former Virginia delegate Mark Keem, former SF supervisor Jane Kim. The Kims, the Lees, the Parks, the Rues are all here. Paul So, city council member, and city council member Tammy Kim. We're all showing up. So we're really excited and so grateful for all the Korean KP Youngwonee pride. But I'm really excited for this next segment, which is a little different, y'all. I know you've heard a lot of people speaking at you. This is going to be a little bit more fun, I think. I mean, it's been great. Andy, Marilyn, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much. You guys are fun too, and Suchin. But we want to hear from these key battleground states where we have Korean American state House representatives. We have Patty Kim from Pennsylvania, who, when you hear her voice, you'll be like, I've heard that voice before. Do you know why? Because she used to be a news anchor and then the city council member, and now she's in the state house and she's running for the state senate. So this Korean woman was it Crajan? She's Crajan. And so we're really excited about
Not
Patty
to be
Kim.
mistaken with Cajun.
Oh, Cajun.
No, it's Cajun, not Cajun.
Thank you. And then we also have Sam Park, who is from my native home state of Georgia. He is the first Gaysian Democrat, Asian American Dem ever to be elected to the Georgia State House. He is the Democratic whip, and he cares about his faith, family, and the country. And then lastly, we have Francesca Hong, who is from Wisconsin. Believe it or not, we have Koreans in Wisconsin and we have representation. She's a mom, an organizer. She's worked in the service industry, so she gets it. She gets the things done. And last but not least, we have Irene Shin, who is a delegate from Virginia, our Commonwealth, our used to be battleground state, but now it's blue. But we have a ton of Asians and Koreans in Virginia. So all four of y'all, welcome. The first question that I have, and you guys can popcorn and answer and just, do a little bit of virtual armchair discussion. You represent an important battleground state. What is the energy for Harris and Walz like where you are, and why do you support Kamala and Tim?
I'll go first. Thank you, Grace. You're doing an amazing job. David, thank you for hosting as well. You have a picture idea of Andy Kim picking up trash. I hold a lip sync battle every year to raise money for domestic violence survivors. I was Nicki Minaj one time. So wig with this, I bleeped out the F words, but that's why I will never be U.S. Senator, because those pictures are still out there and the video. So we're going to keep it to ourselves. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I live, where I have served for over 20 years, the Democrats here are insanely excited. 3 months ago, I went to a Biden rally, Joe Biden running for president. We went to Philly. It's only 2 hours from where I live. And it was a nice event, but the auditorium of a high school private school was only half full. 2 days ago, I just went to Philly again for the Harris Walz rally. at Temple University, 10,000 screaming supporters supporting our future president and vice president. So Pennsylvania is very excited. We are the swingiest of swing states. We voted for Trump in 2016, and then we went for Biden and 4 years later. But polls showed right now that Kamala and Trump are in a dead heat right now. Just want to give you a couple of numbers. Trump won Pennsylvania with only 44,000 votes. We in Pennsylvania, Korean Americans, we have about 50,000. So if we vote as a voting bloc, we can make that difference. And 50,000 Korean Americans in Pennsylvania is pretty low. I think we all need to get our parents to fill out those census reports, folks, because that is not an accurate number. But if we go with 50,000 from the 2020 census report, we have enough to tip over and make sure that Kamala and Walz wins. So let's get excited. I'm super excited for all the reasons: abortion access, affordable housing, paid leave, affordable childcare, all the things that I'm fighting for as I run for state senate. So super excited. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to the other folks speaking up.
Thank you, Patty Kim. We will need to see this video and it will not be used against you, I promise. That being said, I wanted to emphasize donating matters in these key battleground states, and donating tonight matters as well. And so I am going to copy and paste this link so that we can donate to the Harris campaign. So please do so. It really does matter, and we're really excited. Okay, should we popcorn it to someone else, Grace? Should we go to
Yes, please.
Sam
Virginia,
Park?
Wisconsin, or Sam, any of y'all.
I'm happy to jump in and go next. Hey y'all, Sam Park from Georgia. It warms my heart to just be with the Korean American community, to see the friendly faces of so many colleagues and people I admire and respect. Georgia is incredibly excited. We are fired up and ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as our president and vice president. I know Kamala came to Atlanta for a rally about 7 to 10 days ago. We had 10,000 people, and it was just absolutely electric. That RSVP link to go to that rally, it filled up in 3 days, and there are still 5 to 10,000 people who still could not get in. As the first Asian American Democrat, as the first openly gay man elected to the Georgia state legislature, I think it's so incredibly important to make sure that we elect Kamala Harris as our president this year. She is a daughter of immigrants. And I think, especially for all of us, we have to remember that our stories are only possible in a country like ours. Kamala Harris exemplifies that. And that is also what is at stake if Trump wins this November. President Biden, I should say, won in 2020 with just 11,000 votes in the state of Georgia. There's approximately 150,000 Korean Americans living in the state of Georgia. Asian American voters in 2020 were without a doubt the margin of victory. And this year we can do the same thing. But with all the excitement, we have to convert that into hard work. We need boots on the ground. We need folks to donate. We need folks to volunteer. If you want to come and canvass, reach out to me. I'll be on the ground knocking on doors, for the rest of this year. Because again, we have less than 90 days, 88 days, I think, to really change the course of our country and our world. After the Atlanta spa shooting in 2021, Kamala Harris came down to Atlanta, and that's the first time I actually ever met her. Right before we were going into that meeting, we received news of the identity of some of the victims who were shot, and it absolutely broke my heart. They were hardworking Korean women in their 60s and 70s, and I just lost my mother a few years prior, and so it was absolutely devastating. And when I met with Kamala and as myself and other community leaders went to go share the fears and concerns of the Asian American and the Korean American community, it was her strength that first and foremost came across as something that just gave me encouragement. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "We need you. We need leaders like you to continue to fight for your community and to continue to be a voice for your community. But that ability to really not just demonstrate strength amid such an incredibly difficult period of time, but understanding is the kind of leader we need in the White House. So again, Georgia's fired up and ready to go. But again, please donate, please sign up to volunteer. We can win this and we can win this big, but we have to leave nothing on the table. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sam. That was seriously so inspirational, as always. Yes, he's Gaysian, but he doesn't raisin because he's Gaysian, and we take care of ourselves.
Like you, David. That's why you don't raisin, because you're Gaysian.
Okay, so we are going to go to a question from the audience. What can people do to sign up more voters in states like Pennsylvania, in states that are key battleground states? I would love to ask the two others this question.
Yes, Francesca and Irene, please.
Hey everyone, Francesca Hong joining you from Madison, Wisconsin. I have to say, as the first and only Asian American to serve in the Wisconsin state legislature, to be in community and share space with so many amazing Korean Americans, it absolutely fills my heart. And so to all the electeds, to those of you who are staying engaged, all of our guests here who have joined this call, thank you so much. You are making this very isolated Asian American and proud Korean American legislator feel very, very good today. Wisconsin is fucking stoked for a Harris and Walz ticket. We just had Kamala Harris here with Governor Walz in Eau Claire. We had folks walking 3 miles to get to that rally, driving 2.5 hours in traffic. I have never felt like Wisconsin is more unified than right now. And I have to say that we are engaging our Asian American community that is multiracial, multi-ethnic, and multi-generational. And Korean Americans are going to be the absolute margin of victory. But what's most important right now is we are building solidarity, not just with Asian Americans and specifically the beautiful Hmong community that is the majority here, but with Asian Americans in Minnesota and Michigan. State Representative Kao Lee-her, who was one of the first state reps in Minnesota, who happens to be Governor Walz's state rep, came all the way to Madison to talk about the importance of building solidarity. So how do you get involved? You make sure to reach out to your local Democratic Party. There are neighborhood teams on the ground. There are so many different lanes and ways for folks to get involved. Maybe it's text banking, maybe it's phone banking. It could be hitting and knocking doors if you are willing to have those very important conversations, because each and every one of us is a trusted messenger in our community, which means one of you all could be flipping a person, making somebody else get excited to get involved and start being engaged and a part of politics. We know, again, I'm going to say this over and over and over, we are the margin of victory, but truly this win that we are going to have is going to come from our Asian American and more importantly, our Korean American community. And I have to say, as a proud Wisconsinite and somebody who has seen so many ups and downs of our previously gerrymandered state, and a place where in 2020, President Biden won by less than 1%. We're talking about 20,000 votes. And so I don't know, Patty, I gotta say Wisconsin might be the swingiest of states, but we are ready, we are energized, and I am so looking forward to continuing to fight and build with you all. So please get involved. Please recognize that we are the pro-family, the pro-freedom, and the fighting for our future is who we are as Americans, and we need to show that and lead with that as Korean Americans. So thanks so much again for having me on this call, and let's go win this.
That's right. Thank you so much.
David, did you feel the taksar again? I felt it.
I felt it, and now I want some chicken and some cheese because we're talking about Wisconsin. So that is a really wild combo, and I'm really hungry. I do want to say that we broke over $10,000. Can we get over $10,000? Everyone on this call, can we get over 10K? We have another half hour to go or so. Can we do that? Can we get to 15K? Can we get to even 11K? Let's get over this threshold. Super proud and super stoked.
Irene, we need to hear from you about Virginia. Yes, let's get the money going.
It's hard to follow Francesca. Woo.
Francesca, that was incredible. I am fired up. Not only do I have taksal, but my heart is pounding and I am ready. And I think that's actually how all Virginians feel right now. In the first 3 days after Harris became the presumptive nominee, 3,000 new Virginians signed up to volunteer. And that weekend, I actually went out to knock doors, and I live in the town of Herndon, and it's like a tiny population of 20,000 people. And 45 people showed up to knock doors with me. And I was like, where have y'all been? Right? So when we talk about the enthusiasm and the excitement, it is palpable here in Virginia. In just the last 2 weekends, 3,200 volunteer shifts were completed. So if you think about all the Virginians out there knocking doors, it is incredible. And I think when we talk about what can you do? How do you step up to participate in this? Because y'all, democracy is not a bystander sport. You got to show up and game face on, because as Kamala says, when we fight, we win. And how do we fight? We fight by knocking doors and being messengers in our communities. You talking to your neighbors. And just for a second, Grace, I know you're like, oh, Virginia is blue, but I'd like to remind you all, we have a Republican governor here. And before 3 weeks ago, President Biden was 2 points down in the polls behind Trump in Virginia. So when y'all say let up on the gas, Virginia is blue, I'm like, no, that's not what happens here. Because in 2021, we lost the governorship by 63,480 votes. 63,480 votes. And you know how many Korean Americans live in Virginia? 98,000.
Oh, no.
So when we ask you to show up, to knock doors, we're talking about Korean Americans, the AAPI community, actually being the margins of victory, not only in Georgia, not only in Pennsylvania, but here in Virginia, we are also the margin of victory. And so when we say you got to show up to knock doors, come text bank with us. Come send cacao messages to all the 할머니s and 할아버지s, right? Because we got to remind them, 우편 투표해주세요, right? In Virginia, we have really easy vote by mail. And so you can do it from the convenience of your home. When we ask them to come vote early, because Virginia went from being the 49th worst state to vote in to becoming the 11th best state in the country to vote in, we did that because we can say we have a democracy that is inclusive and reflective, and we want people to vote in this, because unlike those weird dudes on the other side, we don't believe in winning by subtraction. We believe in winning by addition. The more people we bring in, that's how we win. That is math. That is my Korean SAT math coming in, right? So I'm saying that's how we're going to win this thing. So when the Korean Americans for Harris groups texts you and asks you to please come text bank with us, sign up for a shift, let's carpool. I'm down to go see you, Patty. I want to make sure you get into the state Senate. I'm going to go GOTV with Patty, right? Let's go. Sign up with me. And also, we got to raise that money, right? Mm-hmm. She's got to have money for those hunter hats that have been selling out, those 3,000 hunter hunting wood camouflage hats for Tim Walz. We've got to do the thing. And so donate, knock doors, text bank, phone bank. But the most important thing is knocking doors. The data says those face-to-face conversations, that's what changes people's minds, and that's what changes people's hearts. So I'm ready to fight and win with you all, and I can't wait to get out there and do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was inspirational. Thank you so much. Irene, Shin, you know your last name in Korean means spicy. I felt that spice. I felt it. We need to take that to the churches, talk to the 집사님s, 권사님s, the 목사님s. Grace, we were talking about this yesterday, how a lot of closeted folks are at church.
Closeted Democrats.
Closeted Democrats. And we need to get them out and about, and so that they can really shout from the rooftops that we are voting the right way.
But in the right way. And Irene Shinlamen, can you please share what you said in Korean with the 우표 투표 thing?
Yeah, 우편 투표 is literally mail voting. 우편 투표. It's like your ballot can come to your house, and that is, we have seen that Asian American voters are, I think it's 4x more likely than our white counterpart voters to be an early voter. That means show up early, vote by mail, and get it done and out of the way, because we don't want you to procrastinate. Yes. That is actually exactly. Don't wait till the last day to turn in that homework, right?
That's called efficiency. Yes.
Okay, so
that is totally it.
Yeah.
우편
투표. 투표 is voting, and 우편 is by mail.
So this is a question for Patty, Sam, and Francesca. Do you also have 우편 투표 in your states?
I do. And it goes very well. People love it. It's so convenient. You can research the candidates beforehand and make a very good decision. It works, and that's how Democrats win as well.
Yes, we have early voting, we have absentee voting, and we now have just made legal again our ballot drop boxes. We also have voter registration on election day, and so many other voter guides that are coming in Hmong, in Chinese. Please, folks, push for that accessibility and language justice in your states to make sure all of our harmonies and our aunties and folks have voter guides so that they can have that agency to vote themselves.
Language justice. Okay, I think David, Korean Americans for Harris, we need to do the um표 투표 program to mobilize our Korean speaking voters in all the swing states. So we can help Irene and Patty and Francesca and of course Sam in our swing states. So
Well, just
let's
that
get
way,
it
yeah.
going.
In Georgia, they did pass a lot of voter suppressive laws, and so they made it incredibly
Wow.
difficult to vote by mail. After in 2020, we saw a lot of Asian Americans utilizing vote by mail, and so I'd encourage folks in Georgia to vote early. We have 3 weeks of early voting, beginning in around 60 days, so it's right around the corner.
And that way, our Korean harmonies will not be ostracized at church. They can just say they voted.
They could be
don't need to
out.
Yes, they can. Yes,
They could be outed as
exactly.
Democrats in the 교회s. Okay, David, we have our next panel of amazing talent. It's over to you.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to introduce my fellow friends and folks who are so influential in American culture and world culture on why they're fired up about this election and calls to action as well. Without further ado, I want to introduce Raymond Lee, Carol Lim, Leonardo Nam, Kevin Wu. Let me just introduce them if you don't know who they are. Raymond Lee is an actor based in Los Angeles with roles like in Mozart in the Jungle, HBO's Here and Now, movies like Top Gun, and was a starring role in NBC's Quantum. But also, he is a hyung from my old college church days. So we're talking about church, and Raymond and I went to church together. Carol Lim is an iconic fashion designer and creative director of Opening Ceremony and Kenzo. Carol is the first Asian American creative director for a brand from LVMH, which is iconic, historic. Leonardo Nam is an American actor with a diverse background. Born in Argentina, he emigrated to Australia before coming stateside. You know him best in HBO's Westworld and Disney Plus's Descendants, Rise of the Red. Welcome, Leo. And last but not least, Kevin Wu is an actor and singer based in Los Angeles, a former U-Kiss member. He was on K-Pop, the Broadway musical, and will be in the upcoming film K-Pops alongside Anderson .Paak. Everyone, welcome Ray, Carol, Leo, and Kevin. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Ray, I'm going to go to you first. We're going to change it up because y'all are creative. Y'all are supposed to be fun. Let's do a game of this or that, shall we? Ray, you're going to go first.
Okay.
This or that. 곱창 or 족발? This or that.
The flavor lasts longer. There's way too much chew, which after a while it becomes exhausting, but the flavor is there till the end. So best bang for your buck, 곱창.
I personally like 대창, but I do love 곱창 too. Soju or 맥주?
Soju. Yeah, it gets you there faster.
Okay.
Efficiency.
Yeah. We love efficiency as Koreans. Going to this campaign now, being efficient with our time. Raymond, tell us why it's important for you to vote this year.
I believe it's important to vote because, I'll personalize it. It's for so much of my career, I've fought to be American, to be viewed as an American. I'm like, what would it take to be viewed as an American? Would it mean becoming a New Englander? Would it mean becoming a naval aviator? Like, what does it take for me to be seen as somebody who is American? And I think voting is the most American thing you can do. I think if we're there griping about the things that we're not getting, it's a lost cause. The most active thing you can do. And I heard that democracy is something proactive earlier. It's something that you have to go. It's not a passive sport. It's democracy depends on a society of people where you believe where you're going to get what you put in. So, I'm here because I don't want to be passive. I'm here because Kamala is the future. I'm here because I'm raising a young daughter who I want her to share the same characteristics as somebody who I want her growing up seeing this as something normal, that somebody can assume the position of power and the highest position of power, and that is something that she can aspire to, and that being normal. So I'm doing this for the future. I'm doing this for my daughter. I'm doing this for my career. I'm doing this for America. So.
Thank you so much, Marie. That was so moving and touching. Doing this for America, and that includes Korean America. Thank you. Next, I want to go to Carol Lim. We're going to play this or that, shall we? I haven't prepped you, but Carol, starting with an easy one, K-pop or K-dramas?
Oh, God. Okay, I'm gonna have to say K-dramas because you get K-pop inside K-drama. I mean, it's hard to choose, but I'm in a K-drama hole right now, so.
What are you watching?
I'm watching something that's a bit old. It's called King the Land because my daughter she chooses whatever we watch together. We watch one episode a night. It's very hard to stop at one, but you have to teach discipline. So that's currently watching, besides The Boyfriend.
Oh, yes. Boyfriend we loved. Even though it's Japanese.
Japanese.
Love. We would love, love, love. Next question. New jeans or literally a new pair of jeans?
New jeans. I rarely wear jeans. So it has to be new jeans.
Gotcha. Any favorite songs you have?
They're all bangers, but maybe Super Shy.
We love Super Shy. We're gonna have to do that with Kevin Wu later. Going to the subject at hand, Carol, who does not wear jeans. Tell me why, as a Korean American woman, you are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz this year.
I think so many of the esteemed panelists have touched upon, I think, why it's important. I think, number one, I think the decency and soul of our nation is at stake. I think about being a woman of Korean descent and what Kamala herself and what she's achieved means to me personally. But I actually just think about my existence in general, how my parents came here and were, made a beautiful life starting from the bottom, became middle class, which I think right now our country, we've seen that erode, and we see that it's more and more difficult to, I think, live a life that actually, my parents, achieved. And so for me, I think she is going to bring back the conversation of having human decency and a level of truth that I think, we have many versions of it today, but we just need to get to the baseline of treating each other like humans. And her and Walz are going to bring that back. And I think I have to remind my parents and also my younger cousins that we do need to stay engaged and completely we wouldn't be here. My life, I think about it, if, the election goes, the way that it's not, I wouldn't be here. I would probably be in Korea. I spend a lot of time in Korea and I'm so proud of the culture, but it's different there too. And I think about my life and would I be running a business and having the support. It's, America, I still believe in that dream. And so I know that Kamala is going to help realize that. So I am excited to support this campaign and everyone else on this call. And I love you guys. David, Grace, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Carol. I still believe in that American dream. That's so powerful. And so do I. Leah, we're going to go to you next. Maybe perhaps people would be thrown off by your charming Australian accent, but you're American. And I want you to play this game of 이것 저것. We're going to change that up. So the first question for you, Leo, is when's the last time you cried? I'm gonna get vulnerable with you.
Oh, I cried today, actually. I did.
Oh, tell me more.
My kids, I have my wedding anniversary coming up on
Congratulations.
Thank you, 10 years. And they gave me a card in advance of it. It was like I was like, oh my goodness, there is a soul in here, and you have thought, and you gave this to me. I was like, oh my goodness. It's a surprise when that happens, Yeah,
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that story. Next, coconuts or Cocoa Puffs?
Coconut. The whole way, coconut. Are you kidding me?
It's coconut season. We had to. That was almost a trick question. Okay, Leo, this is the question I have for you. Why is it essential that Korean Americans vote this year?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to David, to you and to Grace and to the Korean Americans for Kamala for organizing this event, for unifying us together, for giving us a point of focus. To answer your question, I think it's essential that Korean Americans vote this year because it's about our future. It's about protecting our rights and the values that we hold dear. I'm an immigrant like many of us in our community. I'm specifically Korean, American, Australian, and Argentinian, but I'm an immigrant. I'm a proud gay father of twins and a family man. And in this election, I believe our democracy is truly at stake, which is why it's more important than ever that we step up and we vote. Now, as Korean Americans, we are a vital part of building this country's future. Our history as immigrants has shaped the United States, and we've forged families and communities that are integral to the fabric of this nation. Now, many of us came to the United States for democracy and opportunity, and the partnership between the United States and South Korea has always been strong. And it's crucial that we have a leader like Kamala Harris and her fantastic running mate, Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota, who understands the importance of unifying our strength and supporting democracy while invigorating business and opportunity, the very core reason many of us and our parents came to this country. Now, this is exactly the kind of future that I want for my sons, Cooper and Alexander. I want them to grow up proud in an America where they can become fine young men. So I say, let's, unite behind them and build a future where every voice is heard, every life is valued, every dream is possible. And I can't wait to see the America that they will help create for Cooper, Alexander, and for all of our children. Your vote matters, so let's make it count in 2024. Fighting!
David, 닭살.
I gotta say, I was just at the Olympics. I was just at the Olympics in Paris, and I gotta tell you that the pride that came out in fighting between every single person when a Korean, candidate was up there was just as strong as every USA candidate. And so I think that we all need to kind of connect to the Cajun?
Not to be mistaken for Cajun.
Yes,
but whoa.
No one's mistaking that, David, at all.
Okay, no. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I love that we got that point across. Leo also, I was taken aback. Your fighting was so authentically 아저씨. I was like, whoa.
Whoa. Ooh. I am giving 아저씨 vibes right now. You know what I mean?
It was good. It was unexpected, but it got me very inspired.
I bring a little surprise, Bring a little surprise.
Yes, we love that. We love that. Now on to Kevin Wu, my dear, dear friend, Kevin in 동생. Kevin, I am going to play 이것저것 with you. And because you are at the cusp of Gen Z millennial, we're going to have a little fun with this. When's the last time what made you ijbol last? Do you know what I'm saying? Ijbol.
Ijbol?
IJBOL. I just burst out laughing. The new LOL.
Oh. You, David, you're just such a good light, no pun intended. And you're just such a natural at, leading this. So, you.
Thank you. Thank you. And also, is it brat season or gat season?
Brat season.
Okay, I love that. Okay, gotcha. Going on to the question for you, Kevin, why are you so passionate about voting this year?
Yes, first of all, hello everyone. My name is Kevin Wu, and thank you so much for having me a part of this beautiful campaign. And I am just so floored to be in the presence of so many powerful Korean Americans. So I am just honored. But yes, it's really important for me this year because coming from my K-pop background, I was never really allowed to freely express my political views. So this is the first time I've ever use my voice to amplify and represent my Korean American heritage and my community in a political space. So this is all new to me, and I'm learning so much as we're going. But the reason why I decided to step up was not only because I finally had the freedom to do so, but more importantly, I see hope and I feel this Korean fire, this Han within me that is willing to do so. And this year's election is so crucial in shaping a brighter and safer future for people like us, because I believe we can finally be seen and finally be heard through the leadership of Kamala Harris. And a little bit of a personal story. I moved back to California with my parents after being in Seoul for over 15 years, during the whole K-pop career. But during the when I moved during the pandemic, that's when Trump was still in office, and I remember how truly frightening it was to see how our community was mistreated and how scared I was to be back in my own country. And it was not a good feeling, as all of us can relate. And we cannot go backwards and relive those moments. No. And every voice matters, and our voice can be stronger together as Korean Americans. So I just want to use my platform to spread more awareness, to get out there and vote. A lot of people might think that they don't have a voice. Maybe they think their voice is small, but that truly does not count, because your community, it's just that ripple effect that comes from just spreading the word to your family and friends and the people within really make a difference. So yes, please everyone, go out there and vote, and let's make a difference.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And thank you, Ray, Kevin, Leo, Suchin, Carol, all of you. I'm so inspired by you all. Thank you so much. And I have some updates. Grace, we made it past 15K. $15,000 in this chat. That is so crazy. Everyone's saying let's get to 20 because Koreans are greedy. 욕심. We need to get to 20. So can we get to 20,000?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
How do you say yes, we can in Korean, David?
할 수 있어.
할 수 있어. Okay, 화이팅!
화이팅!
To 20K. Well, thank you so much. Amazing people who opened up your hearts and your souls and your voice for a good cause for our country's well-being. I also just want to give a quick shout out to some of the other electeds who have showed up. We thank you, City Council Member Mario Benavente. We thank you, State Representative Chris Chung. We thank you, Ron Kim, State Assembly Member Ellen Park, State Assembly Member Emily Sue Weber, and our Port Commissioner Sam Cho. We thank you for being here. Our last but not least speaker is a dear friend to you all. You don't know it yet, but she is Nadia Belkin. She is formerly Joe Biden for President, ANHPI Director, and now she is Kamala Harris for President, ANHPI Director, and she has been working her butt off in order to mobilize not only KAs, but AA, NHPIs, I know it's so long, all across the country. So Nadia, tell us what's up and what's happening in the swing states. What's the strategy for the Harris for President campaign? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Grace. I'm honored to even just have Korean Americans for Harris in my background here today. Thank you for welcoming me into this space. I have to say, I guess Does this count, Grace, as like our second campaign together? Perfect. Okay. This is really an organizer's dream, right? The level of engagement that we're seeing, the calls to action and people answering them, the number of people that are just flooding our inboxes and volunteer links. There is a level of excitement in this country that is unprecedented, and I'm really grateful to be on this journey with you all. David, you asked some wonderful questions of the panelists earlier, and I am really intentional about creating a partnership between our campaign and Korean Americans for Harris. We really want to focus on capturing that why for Harris Walz that a lot of the panelists were able to share. And we're going to work together over the next 88 days and the phenomenal leadership of Korean Americans for Harris to make sure that we can get Kamala Harris and Tim Walz over the finish line. There are a lot of firsts that we've heard about through this conversation, and we know that this ticket is a winning one. My name is Nadia Nisha Belkin. As Grace mentioned, I'm the National ANHPI Engagement Director. And you've heard from folks, across, like in the headlines on this call that have worked with her, that understand how Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to lead us to a better America. I don't really like to spend a lot of time on the other guy, but what I will say is that we have lived through his administration, and we know that it was not inclusive, it was not safe, and progress was not synonymous with the administration. But you know who is? It's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They're good on all of the issues that we know that matter to us, and they have paved the way through various policy successes over the past 3.5 years through the Biden-Harris administration. So I ask you all, imagine what we could do with 4 more years. Her vision for this country is not only uplifting, but it's empowering and it's inclusive. So I know I joked that we're on our second campaign, but just to bring you in, I know you all are as interested in the numbers as I am. But in the past 2 weeks, we've actually seen a groundswell of enthusiasm. So let's look at those numbers together. 1.3 million voters have signed up for campaign events across the country, and that number is just going up and up and up. 2,000 volunteers have joined the campaign. So listen, 2,000 volunteers, look at how many folks are on this call. We know you'll contribute to that. And we've seen over 600 field offices open in just the blue wall states alone. And so that is Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So we have a presence actually across the country of over 2,000 field offices. So you are joining and offering support to a campaign that has the infrastructure that is rolling and is ready to include you. So I want to take a step back to 2020, right? We have been told that we are the margin of victory, and we really are. We know that the Asian American vote helped us get to 270 in places like a Wisconsin, a Michigan, but most importantly in Georgia. And just to remind you all, the Korean American community represents 12.6% of the population in Georgia, 7.9% of the population in Pennsylvania, and about 6.5% of the population in Michigan. So math is putting us at the table, and we know everything that you're going to do with the campaign, and Korean Americans for Harris is going to push us over the finish line. So the campaign definitely has a place for you. So Grace, you asked me what's happening in the battleground states. We are out, we are about, and we want you to join us. So we are knocking on doors. We are making calls on phones. We are sending texts. We are writing postcards. We are joining rallies. We are asking you all to host house parties, join events, both in person and virtual. And I just want to remind you all that, and I know I heard it from an elected earlier today, your voice and your power has the ability to open up doors and conversations in ways that have never been done before. So in partnership with the campaign and Korean Americans for Harris, we are going to make sure that you have the tools to have those conversations. So that's another important facet of the work here. We are doing things in person and virtually, and we're also making sure that we have some of our tools translated into Korean, because we know that when you have that information available, it just opens doors in a new way, and it allows us to participate in democracy in a whole new way. The other thing I'll also remind you all as you're thinking about like, okay, I could do this in person, I can do this online, is bring your friends and family along. Our community is beautiful, and we also know the power of intergenerational organizing. So start thinking about the friends and family you want to bring along with you.
So Nadia, you're saying bring your harmonies your 할아버지's and do the 우표 투표, which
Yes.
is mail vote by mail and early voting.
Yes. And Grace, I just have to say that is the beauty of the partnership of us working together. We want to build programs and we want to talk to you all about the programs through the right frameworks, right? Like vote by mail, it sounds so boring, but when you talk about it and the language is translated, it opens up conversation in a new way. I mean, I know when people pronounce my name right or my family's name right, I'm more willing to actually have a conversation with someone. So just know that that is at the crux of the way that we want to interact with you all. So my big ask, we are just 89 days away from November 5th. It leaves a lot of time for us to be in community together. So we're going to ask you to host events, donate, mobilize the community, bring those friends and family. I challenge you to bring 3, 5, 7, 10 people along with you each time that you go to an event. We are the margin of victory, and together we can make that margin smaller, but help Kamala Harris get over the finish line. Thank you all so much.
And win big.
And win big. Yes, the
margins.
margins, we're going to make that margin small, but we're going to win by many points. So no pressure, everyone.
We love that.
Well,
and
Nadia, thank you so much. Someone in the comments said you are welcome to our Chimek party always. That's what someone says.
Ooh.
That's chicken and beer parties for life.
Sign me up, please.
Chicken and soda if you don't want to drink beer. No pressure there. We also want to do HMart canvassing, Nadia, with you. So we want to mobilize all the people in Korean while they're getting their kimchi and their ramyeon.
Let's do it.
Irene Shin ramyeon. Let's do it in Virginia. Let's do the HMart canvassing. Okay. Wow,
well, Nadia, we so appreciate you. Nadia came from meeting President Biden, rushed over to get on this conversation. So thank you so much for showing up and being here. I know that you have your other duties to fulfill, but we so appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Really, this partnership is beautiful, and I know that we are going to do some fabulous, beautiful work together this cycle. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadia. And we're coming to the close. We went 23 minutes over time. I'm so sorry, but we all had such a great time here. Grace, I mean, what are your thoughts with today and how the event went? You're in the political sphere. You've done this a lot of times.
You know what, David? We need to do more events with you and your friends because you brought the fire. You know, the 21 fire song? You brought the fire. I feel the pool. I feel the taksal. It's like super. Oh, Irene Shin Namyeon has pool. She brought the actual fire. This is so good. I don't know how you feel, but I feel great. We still have people here. This is pretty amazing. And we have our electeds, we have our leaders, we have our donors, we have our talent, and we have you, David.
And we still can do more, right? We still can donate. We are at that 15K threshold. So please do that. All other calls of action. Sign up to volunteer, get 3, 4, 5 friends, get them to canvass or to call, to do postcards, 투표, 우투. And also to follow us on KAs for Harris if you want more information. I'm so glad and so heartened to be in community with so many fierce Korean Americans. I do want to say that as a Korean American, sometimes it feels like you don't have a home, right? America, you're too Asian here. In the homeland Korea, you're too American. But with Korean Americans specifically, we have that Jong. And with Jong, I find that home within you all. And we find that little home within each other. We may not have a physical home and space that accepts us fully, but we have that within each other. So that's what I love so much about being Korean American. And you can't have KA without Kamala, KA, Mala. And so let us go out and vote. Let's do our duty. Let's really get our community galvanized. We are the margin of victory, and we can do it this year. Thank you, everyone, so much. And we will be having so many events in the next 88 days. Grace, thank you so much for co-hosting. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm so fired up. And let's go.
Let's go. Fighting.
Fighting. Bye,
Fighting. Thank you so much.